welcome back. And today I'm joined by
MIRRIAM'S
mm-hmm.
from Kenyatta University, TITANS.
Okay, at least she's a first learner. I'm happy about that. Thank you so much, Miriam, for giving us this time. This is our third and final bit of this conversation. I'm sure we can go on and on, but we'll try keep it on a time limit. So, what don't fans know about women hockey and even women hockey players?
I think there's a lot to it than just being hockey for women. It's more of a social platform for us. Yeah, and if you look at most of the ladies around hockey, you'll find that most of them actually, identify with hockey, and most of their friend circles is around women who play sports.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's more of an identity sort of setup.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you'll find most of the ladies, when you're looking for a team, you need to find a team that you can easily fit in and be able to socialize with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I take you back a little bit. The pandemic hit us really hard, and it made some people stop playing and a whole lot of issues there. How did you handle yourself during this time?
Well, of course, the easiest thing was to, go home, stay indoors. But I think for us, because we were still students, at some point we still had to come back. And I think that's why we never lost players during that period, because we were just students at that point. So for people who are working, when the pandemic hit, some of them lost the job, some of them got transferred, so most of the teams got really messed up. And then coming back immediately, the KUSA matches started. So we really had to go back and start training.
Okay.
Because the league match really took time before it started. But KUSA was still ongoing. So that's how I got back in, because we have to train for the KUSA. We have to train for the playoffs. So I had to get away to come back into playing. Although it was a bit difficult because we haven't really taken so much of a big break like that. And now coming back, it was a bit messed up. We have to go back to basics. We have to go and try get fit. And we really didn't have a long time to prepare for that.
Okay. Mentally, did this affect you, and how did you just remain game ready?
Mentally, it did, because, as I said, most of us go to hockey as a tool to socialize. So when the pandemic hit, most of us were left with no other circle of friends, because if we are not playing hockey, we are planning for a hockey match. If we are not at a hockey match, we are planning for training. Yeah.
Yes.
So when now you are enclosed and you can't actually play hockey, you can't socialize, it was a bit draining. Yeah, and we didn't have much to do. We had to stay back and come back when
Everything had
the
settled.
lockdown has
Okay.
been uplifted. Yeah.
Yeah. Another issue I've had with players who have come on board is how they handle injuries. Have you experienced any that has had to keep you off the sport? And how was your rehabilitation through, if ever you had one?
Okay, I'd say I've been lucky. I've never suffered a major injury that has made me sit out.
Okay.
Maybe a day or two, but sit out for a match, not one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't really struggled much with injuries. Yeah.
But it's an existing possibility. How are you just safeguarding yourself from such an eventuality?
Okay. I wouldn't say there's really much I can do to it, because injuries get you at the most
Unexpected
awkward.
time, yeah.
Because you might actually be a fan and a ball might actually hit you. You might actually be on the sideline waiting maybe to substitute somebody, and maybe, yeah.
Okay.
So when it comes to that, you can only pray and hope that you never really get to that point. But if you do, I think that's where now the medical cover come in, because some of the hockey injuries are a bit fatal, and actually need a lot of funds to actually get them sorted. Yeah, so the medical covers.
Mental health and wellness, how do you just keep this in check for yourself?
With everything else happening in life, mental issues have really become a problem because right now I'm an adult now. I have to sort my life. I have to sort my family. I have to sort my, there's a lot of things. Unlike back then when it was just I'm a student and everyone else has to sort my life out. Right now there's a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of things that I need to work on. Yeah, so that doesn't get overwhelming. Sometimes you have to take those breaks. And I think that's why sometimes, unlike back then, right now I can just take maybe weeks away from hockey and just decide I'm not doing hockey for the moment and unwind on it. And sometimes I'll just decide, you know what? I'm not dealing with whatever life is bringing. I'm just going to the field. I'm going to play and So those breaks are very important.
Okay.
You need to know when it's too much and when do you need to take that break. Yeah.
We've recently had the African Cup Championship that were happening in Malawi, and there was so much controversy with the ladies' eventual finals. What are your take or your 2 cents on how things played out?
Okay. First of all, I'd say the rule of law has to be followed because without it, we are as well as goons.
Yes, we are.
But then again, when it comes back to we are working as a country, do we really go for patriotism or do we really need to go for our club?
Individual glory.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might have a problem with me, that's fine. But then at international level, I don't really think that's the platform to air that out. We will still come back and we're going to still meet each other. So I don't really think that was a better way to solve the issue.
Okay.
Because I think the KTU officials were there. And they actually knew those people were going. And I think bearing in mind that we've all known how Lakers has been struggling to actually get a sponsor.
Okay.
This is a team that since its inception had struggled with funds, have struggled to actually honor matches. And at no point has Lakers ever given a walkover. Yeah, they've really worked so hard to ensure that they stay afloat. So, and just when they get a sponsor in for the tournament, that's when now things start going bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really big blow for them. And I feel really bad for them. But I think they were misguided, maybe that's what I'd say. Yeah, because maybe people who were supposed to play a role in making sure that they upheld all the tournament requirements failed them at that point. So, I don't know. I really can't pick a side because on this side, we have to go by the rules. But then on this other side, there's also, I'd say, humanity and companionship. Yeah, compassion, I mean. Yeah, so it's quite a...
Do you think this is going to affect Kenyan hockey in general? Because I would assume more scrutiny will be done to future tournaments with clubs or even teams that Kenya will represent.
Yeah, I'm actually worried that the repercussions from whatever happened is going to trickle down back to teams in Kenya, because if at all the players individually will be punished, that means we have several national team players in that Lakers team.
Yes.
Yeah, so if they really are going to lose because of that, then that means our national team has been affected. Then that means our union's name is also going to be at trouble now, because they should have known better.
Yeah,
they should have provided the guidance when needed be.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping that the repercussions will just affect Lakers as a team.
Okay.
But bearing in mind that they have to get down to the players, it's really going to affect our ladies team, because now it has now turned into a blame game now. And these are the same players that we expect are supposed to play in the national team together. So how do you expect that I'm supposed to play with someone who pulled me down when I was working my way up?
Yes.
How am I supposed to work with them?
So it's an underlining factor which is going to
and you can actually expect it's going to bring trouble when it comes to the national team, because that's the uniting factor. It's going to be a problem.
It's going to even devalue the whole professionalism the league has been creating, where it's no longer just a social sport. Because now if we are playing only for the internally and no need to think about international competition or even continental competition, the whole competition about it locally is going to really deteriorate.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, because now Lakers has contributed quite a number of players to the national team.
Yes.
So that means if they are banned from participating in any international matches, then that means the experience that we've been getting from these club championships, that means for the time that Lakers will be banned will mean that they won't have that exposure. They have to wait for the national team.
And the ban might be way much longer again, so we have to wait for that decision to know.
Yeah, and
the
we are also
repercussions.
hoping that they won't ban the players from participating in national team duties, because I hear there's a tournament in March for all African games. So that means if all those players who are there are not allowed to play, then that means we are losing like 5 players from the national team.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's really going to mess up our team. Yeah.
We've touched so much on the Women Hockey League. What are your thoughts on the current men leagues? The Premier League, Super League, and even the National?
Okay, for a while now, I think I'd say the men's team, especially in the Premier League, the competition level has gone down. I don't know if it's due to the effects of the COVID-19, because since then now Butali has been dominating the men's league. The level of hockey in Police has gone down. The level of hockey in Strathmore has gone down. So it's really actually worrying, because you saw when the club championships came to Nairobi, Police and Jaguars are usually our top teams, but you saw them struggle so hard to survive in those.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
So
West Africa is really coming up well, especially in those club championships. So
you've gone far. Uganda is really pulling up their socks as what we've seen in recent time equally.
yeah, and I think it all goes back down to our league. The level of competitiveness has really gone down, especially in the Premier League. It's our top tier, and you'd find 98% of the players come from the Premier League men. Yeah.
Yes.
So if the quality of play locally has gone down, then that means our national team performance goes down.
Equally.
And I think that's the aspect we need to accept. We will always blame the national team players. We will always blame the coaches. But then we are working with what we have in the country. There's no way you're going to expect that one team dominates the whole season.
Three seasons consecutively.
And somehow you expect that we go outside and merge those players and individually expect them to pull the country up. It won't happen, because I think part of the reason why the ladies team is also a bit performing well, if you look at the league for the ladies, it has been varying. Last season Strathmore won.
Yeah.
Previously Blazers won, but
won.
USIU was second.
Yes.
Right now Amira is third, Strathmore is fifth. You see, like it's a bit competitive. Lakers the other season were, I don't know, second or third, but somehow they've managed. Right now they are chasing the title with Blazers.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a bit competitive. So it actually brings out the quality of hockey in the ladies team. And then also I'd say the performance from the clubs translate into the national team. So if we are not performing at our clubs, I don't expect us to perform
well
nationally. So we really have to work on the quality of hockey from our leagues.
Okay.
Yeah, so and Premier League is worrying because the decline has been noticeable.
But what might be causing this? I have been hearing rumors about the gaps at which matches are played. Could that be enough a reason?
Yeah, because I think this season has been the worst if we are talking about match scheduling.
Exactly.
Yeah, because initially we used to have a fixture for the first leg and then a fixture for the second leg. Right now it's like a fixture for
after every 5 matches.
Yeah, after 1 month, another fixture. So at what point, how do teams prepare? Because how do you expect a team is playing one match in January and then the other match is in April? It's not adding up. Consistency is also key.
Yes.
Because we can't be training without having something
competition
to
in
look
mind.
forward to.
Yeah. And also we are not entirely just playing hockey. People have other things. So when you give me a 1 month break, it's like I switch off entirely.
Yeah, and it's really difficult also to get the people together to play a match and then break for like 2 weekends with no hockey totally for no good reason. Yeah, so we really need to work on the consistency of the plays.
Okay.
Yeah.
What of the Super League, the men's side?
The Super League, I think so far I'd say it's a bit competitive because last time Park Road came back to Super League, they had
Yes.
an unbeaten run back to the Premier League.
Yes.
But right now you can see Daikyu has come up to the Premier League from the National League and they're actually threatening to go to the
To
Premier
this.
League direct. It's like they're bypassing through the Super League to the Premier League.
Yes.
And that I think comes back to funding. Yeah, because Daikyu has
They're
sort of...
well motivated.
Yeah, they're well motivated, they're well equipped, they're well catered for. So I think that's part of the motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we can actually pull more sponsors, it will be a more competitive league.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your take on your brother team, KU Vultures?
Okay. I think I'd say KU, in as much as they're struggling, it's a team that is rebuilding. If you remember last season, we lost, I think, around 5 older players.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're rebuilding now. They have to fill into those gaps. And of course, they had to fill that pinch. So it might not be a very good season for them, but yeah, give them another season and you'll see what will be
what
of them.
comes of it.
Yeah.
But the same issue lies of players again will be leaving. So what time frame would you think is enough for a team to rebuild successfully and actually even present a
for
formidable?
Vultures, I think for them it's usually, I'd say it's a bit easier for them compared to the ladies because for them they sort of have a development plan because they have KU Parklands.
Yeah.
And these players, once they start coming up, they get into the main team. Yeah, so they really have to work so hard on making sure that they get new recruits for the Parklands team.
Yeah.
That way, they can always get competition for the people in the main team. But also, I'm feeling part of the reason why Vultures is struggling is leadership because I don't really feel like there's something bringing these people together. Back then, I think I used to know Vultures used to go out. Vultures used to, like, there was a lot that Vultures used to
There
do as
is
a team.
motto spirit, really.
Yeah. And right now, I think, I don't know what has happened. I don't know. I'd say it's more because of leadership. Because how often do you find even the old boys, apart from this motor tournament, coming to train with these people? Because I remember when Solo was captain back then, I think you'd find the likes of Kina Matolo, the likes of Kina Juma, the likes of Kina Cheloti, those people, even on a random day, they'd come to train at KU.
Yes.
Yeah, but what has changed now? Yeah.
They're no longer showing up as often.
Yeah, and also you find the likes of Omamo, those people, like at some point they used to show up a bit often, but what is happening now that they're not showing up? In as much as we really need to build a team, we also need to work on getting the quality. So we need those old boys to start and coming back to train with us. Yeah.
Okay. Still on the men league, the National League has really ensured a whole lot of teams have come on board. And unlike the women team, there's been an influx of teams coming in to join at the various levels. What would you say it's attributing to this?
I think the fact that they've localized hockey from Nairobi is actually part of the reason why it's so easy for men's team to join in. Because who even thought that Kisumu would produce another hockey team? Who even thought Narok will... I don't know.
Kisii.
Like they've
is a
made
team.
hockey accessible to the remote areas. And if we are talking facts, I think we'd say if we are tapping into hockey, we need to really work so hard on Nyanza,
Grassroots.
Western, and yeah, because those are mostly the hotspots where we get a lot of players.
Okay.
So the fact that players can actually play the matches close to home is actually easier for them because it's a bit expensive to travel weekend in and out of Nairobi for matches. So the fact that they've split the zones into 2, so the Nairobi teams get to play together and go for playoffs against the Western teams. Yeah, so it's really easy for teams from upcountry to play there, yeah.
Okay.
Because for the ladies team, there's only Super League and Premier
League.
And the Premier League, of course, gains the promoted teams from Super League. So like the top court of the Super League. But now, what are we doing to ensure that we don't lose the ladies team? Because you remember Nakuru withdrew from the league and then came back. Same thing with Daystar. But then the quality of play has really gone down because I think because of that going away and then coming back. Yeah, and we really don't have a team from Central.
Kirinyaga
women.
Knights.
No, the women.
Oh, women. There's
Women,
none.
we don't really have a team from Central. We don't really have a team from Nyanza, apart from now the Kisumu Queens who recently joined. And you can see they don't really also get
There's
a
no
lot
team
of
from
matches.
Western with that in mind.
Yeah,
the
so-
ladies side.
Yeah, so and I'm sure institutions like Rongo
Masinde
Most.
Muliro. Yeah.
and those universities, I'm sure they have players. So if you're not at KU, UON, JKUAT, you really don't get to play the league.
Okay.
Yeah, so they really need to find a way to tap into those ladies teams
Okay.
and try and get players.
Region-wise, I've also seen a lot of county associations trying to really build their grassroots levels, as is evident with Maseno at Coast and the likes of Nakuru, bringing more tournaments or even ensuring that teams from their regions are really building up. What's your opinion, or region-wise? Which area stands out for you?
I'd say Western and Nyanza. Yeah, because in as much as those counties don't get to host tournaments, they always have their in-house tournaments. Yeah. But then Nakuru has always been privileged because it's a bit central for everyone else.
Yeah.
So whenever they host their tournament, the Betitioni tournament, it always attracts a lot of teams.
people.
So somehow that's how they gain the money for the league. So they manage to stay afloat. Same thing with Mombasa. Mombasa has really developed because Mombasa hosts their beach tournament. They have a lot of tournaments at Mombasa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their leadership is also really working so well to ensure that hockey in Mombasa stays alive. And actually, I was thinking, for some reason, we should give those Mombasa people a chance to run the league.
Nationally, yeah.
Yeah, because they are really doing great work at Mombasa. And
Yeah.
they really have good leadership. And the management of the funds that they get. And anytime a tournament is hosted in Mombasa, they are always have
attraction.
sponsors. Yeah, so...
It's attracting a whole lot of people coming on board. And I
yeah,
think
and they are actually, even time-wise and management, they are really well structured. So
something other associations should
because-
follow a leap from.
I don't know, is there... Okay, when it comes to Central now, because not like we don't have players in Central, but what is going on that we don't actually know. Where did the Danke Mathi go?
Yes.
Yeah, like
That,
there's a
that
lot
used
of...
to be a really big tournament for sure.
Yeah, because even the Danke Mathi as a team pulled out of the league. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the leadership in Central also needs to be a bit vibrant when it comes to the development.
Begs the question, is there an association in Central?
Yeah. But then it hasn't really worked much into ensuring that hockey gets to be played and
in the region to stand out
Sustained,
as
yeah.
like the others.
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if you just finalize on the league, what's your prediction like for the women league, both the two divisions, then maybe the men leagues? How do you see it shaping up at the end of this season?
Okay, I'd say, of course, for the men's team, for the Premier League for men, Butali is going to take the day because I don't think even... I think the closest to them is Jaguars.
Yes.
And Jaguars has lost a match. Butali hasn't lost a match. Okay, maybe the draws might cost them at the end, but it's still going to be maybe 3 or 4 points difference.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the last few times that Butali has played against Jaguars, the match always ends in a draw. So
There's also that.
yeah, there's also a high possibility even if they play this year, it's either Butali beats Jaguars or they draw. Yeah, so I'm actually thinking Butali will take the day because Kenya Police this season has really struggled
really
to
shown up,
even
yeah.
maintain top 3.
Yeah.
Wazalendo is coming up well.
Well, they've been inconsistent.
Yeah,
in
but
my
now I
take.
think also it comes back to the fixtures. How often does Wazalendo play? Plays one match, stays 2 months without a match, and then comes... Because if you look at USIU has had, I'd say, quite a good fixture for them because they've had matches almost every other weekend. And even if they have a break, they get maybe 1 or 2 matches after they come back. Wazalendo plays one match. Same thing with Green Sharks. they had quite a number of matches consecutively, and then they are now
Another
lost until
another,
January now.
yeah.
And now by the time they
The
regain back to the
momentum is
competitive,
lost once again.
Yeah, so
For the relegation in the Premier League, what's
of course
your
KCA
prediction?
will leave the Premier League.
Mhm.
Yeah, no,
It's a team leaving or two of them?
it's two, but of course KCA is the most.
Theirs is
Yeah, and now it's going to be a gamble between USIU, Green Sharks, and Strathmore now, because Sick Union somehow has
already
has amassed quite enough
pulled
points.
a
And
surprise there.
and I think the fact that Sick Union gets to play some home matches has really given them an advantage.
A lot of it.
Yeah, but Strathmore, USIU, Green Sharks, they are all fighting
Are
now
all
to
in the
see who
dogfight
goes.
to
Yeah,
see who.
who survives and who goes.
Okay. And Green Shark almost were as assured as going, but their recent form again has shown they still have a fight too.
Yeah, and you know the funny thing about Green Sharks is Green Sharks might lose all their matches, but then it will get to that point when they are almost relegated and they'll start winning matches. I don't know what works for them. I don't know if it's
pressure.
the fear thing. Yeah, but yeah, and I think also Green Sharks has also really struggled with their rebuilding of the team because they've lost players from injuries. They've lost goalkeepers. Actually, they've really struggled with goalkeeping because most of their goalkeepers got jobs maybe away from Nairobi. Yeah, and they've really struggled to now start getting in new players and reinforce the team.
They end up gambling, and then that's why they.
Yeah, and then unlike the ladies' Premier League, the men's Premier League has a lot of options. So players are always scattered in different teams.
Okay.
If you can't go to Strathmore, you can go to USIU, you can go to Butali, you can go to Police, so there's a lot of options for the men.
Okay.
So maybe they get one good quality player and then lose 3. So yeah, they're really struggling with keeping up and
Okay. A prediction for the Women Premier League: who wins it and who gets to be relegated?
As the table stands now,
As a table.
Blazers is the most favorable position holder. So yeah, Blazers will win, and maybe Lakers come second. And then for the relegation, it's either KU or UN. One of them has to go.
One of them.
Yeah.
Okay. For the men Super League?
Men's Super League, I think Daikyo.
Is it as sure as that
No,
for
it's
Daikyo
not,
right
it's
about
not
now?
as sure, but I think the top competitors now is Daikyo.
Yeah.
Park Road, maybe. Yeah.
Park Road, I'm doubtful.
Yeah, so those are the two most, I'd say, the favorites of the Super League. But yeah, Super League always pulls surprises. So because MSC before they got promoted, now they really had a bad season. Then the following season, they were really top of the match, and somehow they managed to go to the Premier League.
Okay.
But then now MSC seems to be struggling to stay top of the table in Super League.
Okay.
Yeah, but Daikyo has really done well. They actually had their first loss this weekend.
And it was a massive
loss.
Yes, that was a big surprise.
I can't even explain how that happened because these people have not lost a match. And now from not losing a match to coming to 5-0.
And now they believe to every other person who's going to be facing them after they're actually beatable. So
yeah, but even if they lose, how many matches have they been left with?
I think it's under 5 matches.
Yeah, and they've had a good run. It's not really...
It's going to be hard for anyone to match their points.
To catch up with them.
Okay. And what of the relegation?
The Super League, the relegation, I really don't know who's last in Super League. Yeah, I have no tabs.
The Women's Super League?
The Women's Super League, it's Mombasa Sports Club and Sliders. Sliders has really dominated most of their matches.
Twinkles?
Twinkle is third.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the determinant match was the match between them and MSC. Yeah, so the fact that they lost to MSC, now the points difference, now MSC goes in second. And I think they have maybe 1 or 2 matches left.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's next for you at this particular point, moving away from field hockey? What do you have in line? Career-wise, playing-wise?
Okay, career-wise, I'm really working towards to getting to a more permanent position. Yeah, I'm still working. Yeah, the stairs up.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm really working to make sure that I get a more permanent position. Then I also need to work on because I didn't do PE as a course. But
Yeah.
where I'm working as a PE teacher. So there's a lot I need to do I need to work so hard to ensure that I understand other sports. I've started with netball because it's a term sport. I also need to get into badminton. I need to get into squash. I need to get into table tennis. Yeah, those minor sports that are not term sports. Because like in the international school setup, they have a sport for every term. That's easier to get to understand because it's the whole time you're doing the same sport. But now these other smaller sports, swimming, badminton, tennis, lawn tennis, yeah, I really need to get my feet on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time back you told me you're a level 1 coach, yeah?
Yeah, for hockey.
Yeah. How did you get that high?
Actually, I hadn't planned on doing the coaching thing. I think it just came up. There's this guy from Netherlands who normally provides those courses. And they were actually providing a workshop at Impala. And back then, the friends that I had, which I still do, they were like, let's just go and do the course. And I was like, since I have nothing I'm doing with my life, let's go. So went for the workshop, got the certificate. Then when they came back again, I pushed myself to go for that.
The interest
I
or
was
the
actually
seed was
leaving work to go
planted
for
already?
that. Yeah. Then now, when I got to Braeburn, they gave me a coaching role in netball. And I didn't know anything about netball. So I had to challenge myself and try and get something else to, make myself valuable there.
Another feather
So I had
added
to
to
do
your
the
caps.
course.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm working towards getting the umpiring course for hockey and getting the umpiring course for netball.
So where do you do these umpiring courses for someone who might be interested or asking, how do I go about this?
Okay, KHU actually announces them. Yeah, so for the one done this year, I wasn't available. I was out of town. So they normally provide those courses, trainings in Nairobi. I think, I'm not sure about Nakuru, but they do offer in Kisumu and Mombasa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for Mombasa, it's a bit easier because, Mombasa has a very well structured sort of management. So it's actually easier to get them to do the courses.
They push more for such kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for Kisumu also, they need umpires for their away matches in Kakamega. So they always bring up those courses.
Okay.
Yeah, so KHU always announces them. It might take a while, but yeah, they do announce them.
Right.
So you can always enroll in and do the courses.
Right.
Yeah.
Any lessons that you've picked up so far that you'd want to share with the young lady or players that are going to be watching this?
Okay, I think the most important thing I've learned so far is there's life beyond hockey. Yeah, hockey is a fun sport. It's a social sport. But it's just a part-time thing. Hockey ain't the main source of income or anything for anyone playing hockey right now. Because it might give you a scholarship, fine, but then what after that scholarship?
Yeah.
It might give you a job, but then what else after that job? Yeah, so there's life beyond hockey. And while you're at it, make sure that you gain the necessary connections. Yeah, as you do the socializing thing, try and get something else. Work on something else. And that's why I think when it comes to the pitch, do whatever you're doing, but also remember you might also need this someone. They might be an opponent now, but they might be a workmate later.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
you really need to work on knowing that there's life beyond hockey, and you will need this hockey off the pitch. So be nice people.
Equally.
Yeah.
Okay. Any bucket list that you have with the sport still? Winning the Premier League, playing internationally. What aspirations do you have still with the sport as a player?
My most immediate one is I want to win the Premier League. And that's why I think that's when that comes with which team do I want to go and play for.
Okay.
Yeah, so the fact that I want to win, that will really determine in what team do I choose to go and play for. Yeah. And then also, the team you also choose to play for also gives you a platform to showcase whatever you have when it comes to hockey. So as much as I'd really want to go back to the national team,
yeah,
I'd really need to be in a position where I can easily be seen. Yeah, because if I'm playing Super League, how will I be seen and our matches are at 9?
In the morning.
Yeah, so who will wake up to come and watch Super League at 9? 11 maybe latest. Yeah, so
A few.
yeah, maybe, and not really the people that I want them to support
Not the
me. Yeah,
crowd
so
that you want. Okay.
yeah, they are not
Yes.
my target people. So
Yeah.
I want to go back to the national team now on like being a serious national team player.
Okay.
Yeah, I might have backed out a few times, but yeah,
It's still in your
yeah, it's
bucket
still
list
here.
of things you need
Yeah,
to achieve.
that's the one thing that I haven't
Okay.
had on my, because I got to play the club championship. I got to play. I was in the under
That's a
21
big
squad.
deal, but you mention it in passing, so
Yeah, because I didn't. It was my first actually international match. Yeah, and I haven't been proud of the performance we put up. We were last.
the group stages or
No,
in
it was
the
round robin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not really the results that I wanted. Yeah, I wanted us to do better, but all the same, it was a learning.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a learning space, and yeah, I'm hoping that wherever I go, if I get a chance to play, that we will have a better outcome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you still have a bit of time with you to actually be able to achieve all of this. So hopefully, as of pitch, we'll be here to see all the different stages that you will be going through and even the achievements that come with it. At this particular point, do you have any shout outs, friends, family, boyfriends, etc.,
No,
that you'd want to mention?
not really.
None at all. Not even Mwangi the First?
No,
No. Your brother?
no.
Teammates?
Mention them.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think Kenyatta University has really contributed to the player that I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've shaped me into being quite I'd say I'm quite ambiguous, because I'm a leader, I'm a sister, I'm a team player. Yeah, and it's through KU that I've interacted with most of these other teams.
Yeah.
It's through KU that I've gotten to, make connections, make friends. Yeah, and it's also through KU that I got a job.
Yes.
Yeah, because my coach did it for me. Yeah, and KU has really provided that platform for me. It's actually through KU that I got the national team call-up.
Yeah.
It's through KU that I've managed to ensure that I completed my studies, because we had a team that, we were, I think, 5 or 6 of us, and we had to make sure that if you're left behind, then that means you're really going to struggle to keep up with the rest.
Yeah.
So we really worked so hard from first year to make sure that we went all the way to school and we graduated at the same time. And I think that was the top of the team. Yani, I think that was one of the proudest moments I think I've had with my teammates, because we had different courses. We were in very different fields, but 5 of us still managed to graduate at the same time. Yeah, and I think all of us are now working, so we've done well. And now we are leaving, so it's really going to be a big blow for the team. But then again, change is the only permanent thing.
Life has to go on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
so at this particular point, any last words or anything that we haven't touched on and you'd want to share with the audience? This is your platform before we can wind it up.
I think I'd say hockey has been generally kind for me. It has been kind to me the whole time. I've made so many achievements through it, and I really look forward to, making more steps as having hockey as a stepping stone. Yeah, and I'd really want to come back and give back to hockey when I'm all accomplished and well set up. Yeah, and I'm here for the journey and see what comes up out of it. Yeah.
A reminder of your social media contacts, so that whoever would want to follow up with you, ask more questions from some of the areas we've touched on or haven't touched on. Again, just share these with us.
Yeah, so on Facebook, it's Miriam Mwangi. And then on IG, it's wanjiko.mwangi. Yeah, so I think it's just those two.
Just those two.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for an awesome conversation. I hope you get to have you over and over again. I think I've insinuated towards certain opportunities, commentating or even analyzing that we would want to engage you on. So I hope we can get to have you back again, and also back again talking more on some of the achievements that you are yet to achieve or you will get to achieve in the future.
Yeah, sure. I will look forward to more opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah, you've been a good host. So.
Thank you so much. And this is Off Pitch Africa, constantly engaging with various stakeholders in the various sports field. And these are unending conversation. We can go on and on. But yeah, for today, we want to say thank you for staying tuned with us. We open your feedback as always. Our social media lines are open. Engage with us. Let us know what you think. Who would you want us to have on next? Do you still have more questions for Miriam? Please engage with us. So thank you, and until next time, Off Pitch Africa.